you are part of our Temple Beth Avodah choir. We welcome you back. Come on up. This is your cue to settle down. Let's go on row one and 3 because we're a little tight on the floor here. 1 and 3. Come on, come on. You ready? Robin, go up to the second row. You're too tall. Carol, can you be right here? Get to this. Bev and Beth, get up on the stairs. Okay, ready? Here we go. Here we go. Ready? 2, 3. When we
Good Yontef, everybody. This is the fullest. The sanctuary has been filled. 3 years. As we enter through this gate of the new year together in this extraordinary collection of human beings, we do so for all of you who are wearing a Tallit. We put this on, if you go to Shabbat services, you kind of are used to doing this, but if you're, a few times a year person, but you bring your talis, putting it on this morning is a special sense of being surrounded by people we love who are present with us, and for our friends and family who are no longer with us. Together, when we put on our talesim, it is a feeling of being wrapped in memory, and wrapped in love, and wrapped in light. So if you are wearing a talit, would you please rise and join me in the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef batzitzit. Page 110. Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Ma tovu. Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. I'm really trying to work out this feeling. Good, don't worry. To see all of you. There's a tradition that when you see people that you haven't seen in over a year, of course, there's a prayer for everything, right? But it was really clever in Talmudic times. Don't forget, when people were traveling, they never knew if they would see the person that was leaving again. Someone got on a ship to cross the Mediterranean or in any way, and that there was going to be a separation. It was never clear that person would ever be seen again. Panel that chose the appropriate prayer. But this is the one, and for those of you who are more regular daveners, it will sound familiar. The blessing is Baruch Atah Adonai Mechaye Hametim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who resurrects the dead. Right? Like, there was no communication. There wasn't even postal service, which, wasn't so good then or now, but of course, no electronics. So really, how did you know? You didn't know. You probably, if you were Jewish, assumed the worst. And so when it came to this moment of recognition, that you actually saw that person again, it was a gift. It was truly a gift. And this gathering is a gift. A gift for me, and I hope for you too. Some of you, I'm just curious by a show of hands, for how many of you is this the first time you've been inside the building to see all of the construction that we did? Just raise your hand. Amazing, right? Is it not amazing? It's stupendous. And we are joined by so many people who are online streaming from a whole variety of locations. And we are so glad that you are here too. Part of living in this world and going into 5783 is acknowledging that our congregation exists in a different way, in a more complex way, joined through technology, joined through a sense of sharing common experience, but in dramatically different ways. And so the fact that we can do this is astonishing. Imagining if this had happened, if we had had to deal with COVID 20 years ago and what that would have done to us and to our culture and to life as we know it, I don't even want to think about it. But the fact is, here we are, together on this morning of a new year. As Van Morrison once sang, it's a brand new day. And this brand new day, this brand new year is filled with possibility that we will bring to it. It's never been clear to me that what we make happen here is about our commitment to our congregation and to the work that we do, to the values that mean everything to us, and to enact that, to make it happen. And so we flow into the new year with confidence, with a sense of love and faith and gratitude. And in that, we understand how lucky we are, how blessed we are to be able to gather in this beautiful space, together, welcoming the new possibilities to be found flowing into 5783.
So much gratitude, so much love here. This piece could not be more appropriate. A new piece by Chava Morel, one of our favorites. It's called Blessed Love. I heard her singing it and using the words from our Siddur, Moda Ani, or for women, Moda Ani. I am thankful that God, you have restored my soul to me, that you have restored us back together. It's on page 108, the Hebrew of it. Moda ani lefanecha melechai ruachai v'kayam shehechesarta bi nishmati b'chemla Rabbi buratecha.
Before the morning light, I already see it shining. Before I open up my eyes, I already see it shining. When the road is rough, I can feel your love, and that's enough for me. Blessed love, holy love, sacred love, abundant love, source of love, let your love shine down on me. As above, so below, love from whom all blessings flow, source of love, let your love shine down on me.
On me and the ones I love, from below and from above.
Protect my family and be light in me.
Shine on me and the ones I love, shine from below and from above.
Protect my family and shine through me. Be a light in me. Be a light in me. Be a light in me.
There'll be several times between now and the end of Yom Kippur where I will say, please rise as you are able. I'd like to emphasize that that is an invitation, not a command. If you are comfortable sitting, sit. If you want to stand, stand. If you want to stay standing, stay standing. I think the point is that in this moment, in the ever-evolving tradition of Judaism, that the space that you create has to be a place that resonates with your own sense of place, literally where you are and how you find yourself in this moment. If the liturgy is compelling and you want to sing at the top of your lungs, by all means do it. There's no tryout. There is no final moment where you get the thumbs up or down. If you want to sing, you sing. And if you're a person who either doesn't know the liturgy, not really a liturgy kind of person, The Machzor, the Rosh Hashanah prayer book that you're holding, is filled with texts that are inspiring and meaningful and interesting. And if you are here with us this morning and want to spend your time perusing your Machzor, as they say in Hebrew, Gam Zelatov, that's just fine. The point is we're together creating a living, breathing community of searchers, worshipers, cynics, devout, atheists, and everything in between. And all are welcome in this space for this new year. And so, having given out the basic housekeeping do's and do nots, which is pretty much do whatever you want, please rise as you are able. We are on page 142.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. A poem not found in your Machzor by an extraordinarily open-hearted, suffering poet named John Rodell. If you are a Facebook person, look him up, R-O-E-D-E-L. His poetry is accessible and incandescent. If a single heartbeat contains 2 to 3 watts of electricity, how much power will it take for you to finally believe that your life is not a mistake? If your eyes can detect 150 distinguishable hues of color, how many years will you waste only staring into the gray fog? If a single breath holds 171,000 words for you to choose from, how many of those words will be used to build community? If in a year you think 2 million thoughts per day, what is the total sum of thoughts where you forgive yourself? If your life is once in a trillion years phenomenon, how many times must you be reminded to quit hiding your light? Our lives aren't Amen. On page 146. Avtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gidola V'Tera Chamalta Leinu Chemla Gidola V'Tera Chamalta Leinu V'ha'er eineinu b'toratecha v'dabek libeinu b'mitzvotecha v'yached levaveinu li'ahava u'l'yirah et shemecha v'lo nevosh v'lo nikalem v'lo nikashem le'olam va'ed ki v'shem kodshecha agadol v'anora batachnu nagila v'nismecha v'yeshuatecha
Baruch atah Adonai,
Shmo.
habocher be'amo Yisrael, be'ahava.
Amen.
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem
Kivod Malchuto Leolam
va'ed.
Page 152. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha uv'kshartam leot ayadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. It's an honor to introduce our president, Carol Rodenstein, with some interesting stuff to share with the congregation. Oh, that was my job.
I just have to say, this is amazing. It's great to see you all. Many of you know that I love to dance. My family would say it borders on obsession, and I can't really argue. This past year, I became certified to teach Zumba and Zumba Gold, and that gave me the opportunity to choreograph dances again, something I have not done since college. Developing a choreography is not so different from many other creative processes. You break the music into parts, you develop each part separately, and then you put them together. But the magic of a great dance is the focus on the transitions between the sections. How do you make them smooth? Are you on the correct foot to start the next portion? Is there the appropriate flow? Do the pieces fit together? And when it's all complete, is it cohesive? And does it form a beautiful and meaningful dance? Life is full of transitions. We move through the different life cycle events, marking passages from childhood to adolescence to adulthood, between singlehood and partnership, between life and death. We are part of the Temple Beth Avodah family to help support and celebrate with us through those changes. For most people, this year marks the re-engagement with the world and TBA. For many, you've become deeply connected over the past few years through our online Shabbat. perhaps more than you ever were before. For some, this year marks the excitement to be here in person for the first time in a while, an opportunity for you to feel the community in this beautiful physical space. Still, for others, it's not about your physical or digital presence. It's about your interpersonal and spiritual space and the ways you connect with others and with your Judaism. There is no one approach to be part of the Temple Beth Avodah community. And please know that TBA is here for you as you navigate your own journey. As your leadership, we've been very busy preparing and positioning the temple for the future. As you'll hear from Rabbi Stern in a little while, this year marks the beginning of a number of transitions for Temple Beth Avodah. We recognize that our membership is changing in both size and demographics. As such, we're exploring the ways that we engage with members on a personal level and the structure in which members contribute and support TBA financially. You'll hear more about these efforts and plans as the year progresses, but our goal is always to envision and enhance the value we provide to the community while enabling each of us to feel an individual sense of fulfillment and connection with TBA. Our staff and clergy are in transition too. We have been blessed for many, many years by having Susan Glickman as our cantorial soloist. And as I'm sure you're aware by now, Susan will be retiring in the coming July. A new cantorial leader will continue the legacy of joyful, soulful, and relevant music here at TBA. We're also beginning the search process for an assistant rabbi focused on outreach and membership. We recognize the diverse needs of our community and the opportunity to invigorate our members' meaningful personal connections with TBA. Together with Rabbi Stern and all of our wonderful staff, these roles will strengthen our relationship with TBA, with our community, and with each other. As fun as it can be to dance alone, the real magic happens when we dance together. We have skilled lay leaders on our transition task force and our search committees, but we need to hear from you. Sharing your thoughts is a way for you to be active in our culture of inclusivity, acceptance, and caring. Over the next month and beyond, you'll have the opportunity to participate in a congregational survey, leave your thoughts on an online comment box, or join a listening campaign regarding our search processes. With your voice, we can be successful and assure we have the best resources to bring TBA into the next phase. You are the heartbeat and rhythm of Temple Beth Avodah. As we start 5783, I want to share my commitments to you. To always listen, to be a good ear to hear your thoughts, even if we're not always on the same page. To work tirelessly for TBA with our incredible lay leaders. To collaborate with our amazing and dedicated staff and clergy. And to lead with strength and humility and always put TBA first. In the dance of life, we do not know what to expect. This year will likely bring moments of pain and sorrow, and moments of great, great joy. We are grateful for the Temple Beth Avodah family in all of those times. Thank you for being here and for being wherever you are. Thank you to my fellow lay leaders, the staff, and the clergy who have dedicated their time and energy and effort to TBA. Let's use 5783 to continue to strengthen our community as we move through these transitions, biachad, together as one. A sweet, healthy, and happy new year to you and yours. Shana Tova. Thank you.
Switch. We're on page 164.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא.
שירה חדשה, שימחו גאולים על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמלכו ואמרו,
אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
צור ישראל,
קומה בעזרת ישראל, עובדי חינומך, יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל.
ברוך אתה אדוני,
שמו.
גאל ישראל.
Amen.
In the next section of prayer, the Amidah, there are special editions during High Holy Days, prayers that are specific reminders of the task that lies before us, the task of repentance, of forgiveness, the task of reevaluating who and what we are and what we're doing in the world and how we might do whatever it is we're doing more effectively. Not through any kind of efficiency test, but really about how are we living our lives with honesty, openness, and integrity. Because that is the task. That is the way in which we're able to translate everything we want to do into real time with real people. To do it from an open and loving heart. And it's with that in mind that I ask you to rise as you are able and turn to page 166.
Lai
Ya la 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 la. Ya la la la. Ya la 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 la. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svatai tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svatai tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svatai tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor VeHaNorah El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Akol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo B'Ahava Zochreinu L'chaim Melech Hafetz B'chaim V'chotveinu B'Sefer HaChaim Lemancha Elohim Chaim.
Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai
Shmo
Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah.
Amen.
Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye Hakol Atah Rav Lehoshia Morid Hatal Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofe Cholim Umatzir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Bal Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Meimid Umechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua Michamocha El Rachamim Zocher Yitzurav L'chaim Berachamim V'ne'eman Ata L'chayot Metim. Baruch atah Adonai
Shmo
Mechaye Hakol
היום, כי הוא נורא והיום, ובוא תנשא מלכותך, ויכון בחסד כיסאך, ותשב עליו באמת. Page 178.
Rosh Hashanah yekatevun, uvyom tzom kippur yechatevun, kama yavorun vechama yebarehun, mi yichye mi yamut, mi vekitzo mi lo vekitzo. Berosh Hashanah yekatevun, uvyom tzom kippur yechatevun, mi va'esh u'mi va'mayim, mi va'cherev u'mi va'chaya, mi va'ra'av u'mi va'tzama. Berosh Hashanah yekatevun, uvyom tzom kippur yechatevun, mi varash, mi vamagefa, mi vachanika o mi vaskila, mi yanuach o mi yanua, mi yashkit o mi Torah. Berosh Hashanah yekatevun, uvyom tzom kippur yechatevun, mi yishalev u'mi yityaser, mi ya'ani u'mi ya'ashir, mi yushpal u'mi yarum. Berosh Hashanah yekatevun, uvyom tzom kippur yechatevun, We read together on page 179. On Rosh Hashanah, we plunge like swimmers into a sea of words. On Yom Kippur, the sea rises, then crests, and we emerge, sealed by the wax, warmed by the fire of braided candle. The new year is like a trailhead, opening wide before us. The day of fasting, narrow, breathless, so quick to close. We contemplate a new year, and this we know. Some of us will live, and some of us will die. Some will die young, and some very old. Some by water, and some by fire. Some by sword, and some by beast. Some by hunger, and some by thirst. Some by plague, and some by earthquake. Some by stoning, and some by strangling. Some of us will feel at ease. Some will be restless. Some will have peace of mind. Some will have strife. Some will be tranquil.
some will be tormented, some will be raised high, some will be brought low. Some will have riches, some will be impoverished. Even so, the way we act, the way we speak, the way we meet God's image in ourselves and in others, these things have great power to make our lives matter. Therefore, let us make whole the broken shards, green and thick the withering grass. Let the wind fill us with urgency for life. Let dreams give birth to justice and goodness. God of holiness, God of hope, let us glimpse your truth as we attach our hopes to yours. Utshuvah, utfilah, utsedakah, ma'avirin et ra ha'gezerah. Page 184.
Kaddish Shimcha ba'olam, Kishem Shemavdishi ba'utol b'shmei marom, Kakatuv ayad nevi'acha, V'karazeh zeh ve'amar,
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melochol haaretz kevodo.
Adir, Adireinu Adonai, Adoniru Adir, Shimcha b'chol haaretz.
Baruch kevod Adonai mimkomo.
Echadu Eloheinu, U'avidu U'akeinu, U'moshienu v'hu yashmienu, Berachamav le'irei kol chai. Ahadi Adonai Elohechem,
Yimloch Adonai leolam, Elohayich Tzion, ledor vador. Hallelujah.
Lidor vador nagid God lecha, U'lenitzach nitzachim kedushatcha nagdish, V'shivchacha Eloheinu, mipinu layamush, le'olam va'ed. Ki al melech gadol u'kadosh atah, Baruch atah Adonai HaMelech HaKadosh.
Please be seated. We continue silently.
This melody is from my childhood and probably many of yours. So as soon as you know what I'm doing, just come along in. Sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uvracha, chayt v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu v'al kol yirei shemecha. Sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom. B'sefer chayim b'rav v'shalom u'farnasa
216. Nizacher v'nikatem lefanecha anachnu v'chol amecha beit Yisrael lechaim tovim u'leshalom.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Shemo.
Osei hashalom.
Amen. Giver of peace, teach us to see ourselves in the face of the other, that we may learn to be patient with fault, generous with love, sparing with anger. Help us to understand that our little lives are potent with great good, that we are healers in your image, that reaching out in need of you to others more in need, we find you near. Simply days, a reminder of the yearning of our hearts, our deepest hopes, safety and good health. So many things that are out of whack, so many things that frighten us. And we pray that this year would be a good year for us, that we might together yet see community. Page 224. Avinu Malkeinu, speak this sacred truth aloud. Avinu Malkeinu, let the goodness of this gift of life be engraved upon our hearts. Avinu Malkeinu, may we taste anew the sweetness of each day. Avinu Malkeinu, let us up to the blessings already in our grasp. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu Vaneinu, Ki ein banu masim, Aseh imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed, Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed ve'oshienu.
Avinu Malkeinu,
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vanenu, Ki ein banu masim. Please be seated. On a macro scale, 1997 was not a particularly huge news year. So just to refresh your memories, Bill Clinton was the president before Monica. Steve Jobs returned to Apple that year. And speaking of returning, Hong Kong returned to Chinese rule. Didn't go so great. Mars Pathfinder landed on the surface of Mars, and tragically, Princess Diana died in a car crash in Paris. Gas cost $1.22, and the Dow was over 7,000 for the first time. Hopefully not going back. Milk cost $1.90, and the median cost for a new house in the Boston area was $213,000. Sirloin steak cost $2.54 a pound. OJ was found liable for wrongful death, ordered to pay $33.5 million in damages to the Brown and Goldman families. Beanie Babies hit the commercial world, and many of you probably have a bunch in a bag sitting in your basement. Movie of the year was Titanic. It was released in December of 1997. Jeffrey Rush won the Oscar for Best Actor in the movie Shine, and I just can't remember that movie to save my life. I remember Jeffrey Shine. And of course, Billy Crystal hosted the Academy Awards. So, not big headlines. Wasn't it nice to live in a world without such big headlines? 25 years ago is a solid chunk of time. Maybe not if you're a geologist or a paleoanthropologist, but in actual human accounting, it's meaningful. Well, it's certainly meaningful to me because I arrived at Temple Beth Avodah 25 years ago. I came from the 20th century. I'd been the rabbi of a small, rapid growth synagogue in Arlington, Texas. When I began there, we had about 60 families, and I took out the trash on Wednesdays. And when I left, there were over 220 families. The congregation was extremely young. There were some very knowledgeable Jews who had come from larger cities, and they were doing sort of lay services for a few years. And every single member of the congregation, with one exception, was from somewhere else. Very few people had family nearby, so we had to build a structure that allowed people to come together, to feel connected and counted during holiday time and life cycle and other important events. So when the Temple Beth Avodah Search Committee came to see me in action in Texas, I got a pretty good idea of what I did and who I was, a young-ish rabbi who loved my work. They selected me as one of the candidates, and then I was a finalist, and you, my congregation, concurred. You agreed with their decision. You trusted them, to which I say, Amen. So the thing is, the search committee got to see me. Search committees get to do that. But I didn't know who you were. Google had only been trademarked in 1997. There wasn't anything much behind it except lots of ideas. I didn't know. So I called our Rabbi Emeritus of blessed memory before he was the Emeritus Rabbi, Rabbi Robert Miller. And I asked him some questions. But he was the retiring rabbi, so he
he was a little circumspect. He didn't spill much. Didn't really give me a crystal clear picture. I mean, what he said was great, but who are those people? I don't know exactly. So it was a problem, because now any congregation in the country, you can just go on YouTube, and almost every congregation has some services on there, and some idea. Well, who's in the? Is there a preschool? What do the kids look like? What do they do? It was really mysterious, a little blurry. So I have to say that when I arrived, I wasn't really prepared. And I think the congregation wasn't quite prepared either. We were, in many ways, equally clueless. 25 years ago, for this temple community, it was a very significant transition point. Rabbi Robert Miller had led this congregation for 26 years, for much of that time in robust partnership with Ann Charenson of blessed memory. They cultivated a rapidly growing community. Rabbi Miller was a great preacher. He was a teacher. He was a pastor. He had a gemach, he had a yeshiva background, New York. He was a big presence. And Ann Charenson was a great organizer. She ran the schedule. You knew what was happening. Everyone said, there was just a phrase, you want to know what's going on? Call Ann. And people did all the time. Rabbi Miller and Ann Charenson, along with many able lay leaders, tended to TBA kind of like a ma and pa store. Remember, it started very humbly with a small people. It just kept growing. Their management model from the very beginning remained in so many ways personal and intimate. In those days, TBA was called the Temple in the Woods. It was set back in the trees. All you do is, you couldn't find it unless you made that turn on Oak Hill Street, where you would find us tucked away in a cul-de-sac at the very end of a very cute place called Pudding Stone Lane. You might not know this. Some of you do, because some of you were there. There was no paved road that led into the temple. It was a dirt road. And there are stories of people on rainy, snowy days getting stuck, people having to push, people having to get muddy. It was part of the gestalt of TBA. It was a mom pa place, and there were lots of things about it that felt so intimately family personal. Now, in those days, we didn't have Excel. We didn't have much of a database, certainly no professional accounting system. It became increasingly difficult to keep track of a growing budget. We had a wonderful volunteer treasurer who had in his basement on the ping pong table and up onto the shelves. That's where all of the budget was. Herbie Hankin had it. He knew how to do it. No one else did, but he did. And, there would be hours-long board meetings trying to figure out exactly what was going on, because there just wasn't a lot written down. It was all on faith. Now, Eric Clapton wrote the song, Living on Faith. We were definitely living on faith and doing it really well, by the way. So 25 years ago, TBA was in upheaval because the two professionals most identified with the temple's heart and soul retired simultaneously. This was a sea change. Like, who exactly was going to run the ship next? Again, a fact you might not know. 25 years ago, we finally cut the ribbon to come into new space. There was a huge building. The entire administrative wing did not exist 26 years ago. It was built, and 25 years ago, we cut the ribbon and walked in, preparing the building for the new year. We had people, Eddie, I think this is right? We had 3 shifts of workers here, 24/7, working so we could have people come into the same. It was an insane building project. But the people behind it, Eddie and Ted Ty, they were like, we're going to do this. We're going to make this happen. And they did. But you understand, suddenly this mom and pop store congregation has this big, beautiful building. And it's like, well, what are we going to do with it? Who's going to program? And who's in charge anyway? So it was a lot. It was a lot. A quarter century ago, the art and science of transitioning, not that kind of transitioning, the art and science of transitioning into a new administration, that really wasn't a thing. How do you onboard? I don't think we even used the word onboarding 25 years ago unless it referred to getting on somebody's boat. So we had a plan to transition in the midst of the upheaval, the new rabbi. And the transition plan was we were going to have 6 coffees at 6 different people's homes where I would meet 6 different groups. And that was pretty much the plan. And so I listened, took lots of notes, and I got lost all the time. It was crazy. I pulled more U-turns in my first 3 months of living in Newton than I did my entire life of driving. I think getting lost and pulling U-turns is an apt metaphor for my first year or so. I wasn't prepared for the challenges of living in a community like Newton. TBA was an older, more established congregation than the one I had been in for the past 10 years. TBA's culture was mature and had a deeper multi-generational basis than the shul that I came from. Learning the desires of the congregation, scouting out the trajectory for our future, and intuiting the right thing in the right direction. It took time and humility. My quest was to find and interpret the beating heart of TBA. So there was some culture shock in that first year or so. Into the next stage of development, from the temple in the woods with a dirt road to a mature congregation with a paved road, big aspirations, and a new rabbi. There were misunderstandings and missed cues. There was a sadness that I could not fill Rabbi Miller's shoes and that I had brought my own. It wasn't always so easy. But we persevered. Well, 25 years have gone by. We have an actual database. We have Excel. We have professional assistants in our finances. We can actually see and budget and plan. We are not shooting in the dark. The evolution of our infrastructure is evident. To be sure, the maturation of TBA is accompanied by specific sobering changes. We are smaller than we used to be. Our membership is now around 400 families. By the way, we never were quite sure how many we had because we didn't have a really good database. But the number 500 has been bandied about. We don't know if it's actually real, but just to give you an idea, that things have definitely, our population is definitely smaller. So of course, with 400 families, how do we support this temple? Our school is smaller. This year, we have only 12 B'nai Mitzvah. And to give you an idea, about 15 years ago, we had about 40. So just to give you an idea of the balance. Now, 12 is especially small, and we do have larger classes coming up. But it's sobering to understand what that number means and who we are and who we're evolving to become. 25 years ago, the largest concentration of our families, of our congregation, was families in their 30s and 40s. And now the predominant population is baby boomers, and maybe the people that are, both on the near end and the far. We arrive at this pivotal moment, a transforming temple. For years, one of the best things I got to do was on Hebrew school afternoon, I would stand outside here in the circle and I would watch all the kids from Memorial Spalding School come spilling out on their way to Hebrew school. It was like watching a Spielberg movie. They would just come down, they would fill the road, and there'd be cars trying to get down, parents dropping up, and they would block the road, and and it was great. It was great to see them in a school that was predominantly Jewish. It's not that way anymore. Memorial Spalding has classrooms where only there are 2 Jewish kids in the classroom, which seems inconceivable as we think about it from 25 years ago. But the demographics of Newton have radically changed, not just our congregation, but this city. We used to be centered in Newton Corner, from Chestnut Hill to Needham, South Brookline, and Weston. And our membership is more diverse than it's ever been. Our commitment to our LGBTQ congregants is ironclad. Our support for our congregants of color is absolute. We are unequivocally resolute in our commitment to do more to bring justice and healing to those who are oppressed and excluded. Our ongoing and unequivocal stand on human rights is a hallmark of TBA. Well, we weathered the heavy turbulence of COVID in 2020, and look at us now. We are here. And even though COVID cheated us out of a big celebration to cut a ribbon, officially recognizing the beautiful renovations and building we finished in March of 2020, we are here in strength and determination. With all the transitions that we've witnessed, one thing remains constant. That is the fundamental character of TBA. Our temple was and is about heart. It's about being present for each other. It's about recognizing the innate strength we get from being together. We understand that life is not easy and that our Jewish traditions and rituals ennoble our every effort in every aspect of our lives. What we teach is not rote platitudes or rituals for ritual's sake. What has always mattered to us is teaching our kids and our adult members how to be a mensch. We want all of our children and our children's children, all of us, to feel the ineffable buzz of Jewish connection to our history, our culture, and to each other. That was true 60 years ago when this temple was founded. They laid the foundation, those founders did, and we've been building on it ever since. We know that we don't know what the future holds. COVID taught that lesson with whiplash intensity. We know that we are more committed than ever to carry on the legacy of TBA, L'Dor V'Dor, from generation to generation. We must be on point, ahead of the curve. Transition can't be about waiting for things to happen to us. We will make things happen by being bold and proactive. Over these past 25 years, as liturgy and music evolve, TBA has always embraced transitions in format and style. This congregation, we have never had to tiptoe or apologize for adopting a new prayer book or a new melody. We've always had a deep bond of trust regarding innovation and change. So now what happens? What are the ways we intend to embrace this time of transition? Well, first what we do is embrace the work of our cantorial soloist, Susan Glickman, who is retiring at the end of the year. She transformed the arc of TBA's liturgical music from the 19th century traditional Reform formula of soloist plus choir plus organ into a 21st century embrace of a new reform formula of voices and guitars and folk rhythm and Middle Eastern colors and jazz. Susan's fearlessness to take on musical forms with which she was not always comfortable is extraordinary. Over the years, she invited the best new Jewish voices and bands in the world to perform here in honor of the memory of her mom, Anita Bamel. Susan has involved hundreds of children and adults in special choirs organized for special moments in the life of TBA. Her love of music and belief in its intrinsic power to move us to prayer, joy, and tears have become the sine qua non for every melody we hear in this sanctuary or in the community room or downstairs in the ELC. Susan's dedication transformed music at TBA. The person who follows Susan will be lucky to have such a robust and broad platform of diverse musical options. Our new person will have a solid foundation of faithful, joyous musical freedom upon which to build. Susan, your legacy will continue to inspire us every day, every day. TBA's boldness, our vision of what we must prepare to do and be, compels us to think and act courageously and out of the box. To that end, we're beginning the process of bringing an assistant rabbi to TBA. So I think I should digress for a moment at this point. So you might be wondering, so is this like a retirement announcement? No, it is not. My current contract goes to July of 2025. Beyond that date, we'll consider the best decision for TBA and for me. I know we had a little scare a few days ago, and I got to give endless words of appreciation for Beth Israel Hospital, who took really, really good care of me. But here I am, good, feeling great, powerful, dynamic. I'm all good. And if I'm feeling all good, and you will have me for a couple years after that contract ends, I will be thrilled to be here with you. So when we get to that point, you will most definitely know. So no, we're not hiring an assistant rabbi to prepare someone to follow after me. The assistant rabbi that we're looking to hire will expand our ability to give our congregation our most crucial offerings: kindness and connection. We all want to be known and cared about. An assistant rabbi will reach out to the current members of TBA and do outreach to unaffiliated Jews living throughout our area. An assistant rabbi will teach classes for those who are not Jewish but interested in exploring Judaism. An assistant rabbi will make meaningful relationships with some of our most essential partners in Jewish life. And this will test your knowledge of Jewish acronyms: CJP, JCRC, JF and CS, and the JCC. And there are more. I have the key if you want afterwards, I can tell you. An assistant rabbi will join me in the work of raising our kids with laughter and stories and an outpouring of love. We will bring our kids a bright light of hope as they cope with the high stress of life. We will go through a thoughtful process to find the right music person, to find the right assistant rabbi. It's not going to be, well, this is the best we could do. We're going to look for the best, period. Rabbi Larry Kushner, who was rabbi at Bethel in Sudbury for years, once said that Rosh Hashanah is the new year of the Jewish people. And he said it's also the annual meeting of the Jewish people. So let this stand as my State of the Union address. Understand that the road ahead twists into the horizon, and no one has a map to chart where it leads. But we will not wait by the side of the road. We are driving forward. We are fully engaged in not just maintaining TBA, but in making it better, more diverse, better represented in our community, not cowed by diminished numbers, but inspired to work harder. 25 years is a generation. I've had the honor of watching people grow and mature through the entire life cycle. I've had the profound joy, particularly over this past couple years, of performing weddings for little children. Well, they were. And then somehow they became grown-ups. And would you raise your hands if I did your wedding over the past year? I'm so glad to see you. I can't tell you the deep naches. Like, this is one of the parts about being with you for a generation that it resonates so deeply. It is a huge blessing for me. We've had some hard times, but we've never faltered. Our connection is enduring based on a shared love of the Jewish people and the profound belief that kindness and laughter are far preferable to discord and rancor. In a world riven by pain, we need each other. This is our community. And depending how long you've been with us, you might pronounce it Beth Avodah. Then that typically means you've been around for a while. Temple Beth Avodah, TBA, no matter what you call us, we are thriving. You've taught me so much about life, what it means to be vulnerable and frightened, what it means to be bold and courageous. You've shown tenacity and loyalty in times when I feared that COVID would have crushed our spirits. Your love and best wishes buoyed me up as I recovered from open heart surgery, and when I lost my mom, and when the whole world seemed to close down. We have stuck by each other in sickness and in health, believing in our shared love of Judaism. We share a profound commitment to this community and the quality of connection we share. And we have so much more to do, so much more to explore, so many goals to accomplish. And as the song goes, I am grateful, so grateful for your patience and your partnership. I am so thankful for your gifts of trust and love. After 25 years, it's nice to know. Thank you, Maestro. We are continuing with our Torah service on page 227. I have a bunch of people to invite to the Bima at this time. First, I want to invite our ark openers. And I know I might be accused of nepotism, and you would be right. I'd like to invite my grandchildren, Sylvie and Caleb, would please come up to the Bima. I'd also like to invite our Torah readers, Keith Merlin, Gemma Dorfman, Perry Barrist, and Adam Cohen. And also, if you'll come on up, along with our special quartet of readers, and you'll find out more about that in a minute, Josh Baumer, Brian Baumer, Sarah Dretchen, and Olivia Frankel. If you'd all join us on the Bima. And folks, if you would please rise and turn to page 227. Elohim Adonai, vein kema'asecha, Malchutecha malchut kol olamim umemshatecha b'chal dor v'dor. No, you stand on that side. Adonai malach, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. If you would help Sylvie. Of heart, Sylvie, can you stand? Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Ki v'cha levad batachnu, Melech Elam v'nisa, Adon Olamim. On page 228.
Adonai, Adonai, Erachum v'chanun.
Adonai, 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 El Rechum v'chanun Adonai.
Erech apayim v'rav chesed v'emet Adonai. Nosei chesed la'lavim, nosei aval v'afisha v'chota'ah Adonai,
Adonai, El Rechum v'chanun Adonai, 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 El Rechum v'chanun Adonai. James, you would take out the big Torah. And Sarah, would you carry one of the Torahs? Why don't you grab this one? We'll just pull this out and give that to Sarah. Hold it.
Just go in and get it.
You got it? Yeah. And you grab that one.
Stand right here. Face you.
Let's come stand right over here. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'Nora Shemo. Adonai Yiti, Romema Shemo Yachdav. So why don't you go to the left and loop around? If it got, I have a picture. James, would you go down the middle and go right? I'll throw you the pass that way. Carol, why don't you kind of go around this way and just come back around?
Go ahead, Caleb.
Caleb, who do you want to follow, James? Okay. If you guys want to go out there and see anybody, or are you ready?
Ve'al gemilut chasadim, al shlosha divarim, al shlosha divarim, al shlosha divarim. You want to put your papers up there? Alam obed. שלושה דברים. על שלושה דברים העולם עומד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים. על שלושה דברים. על שלושה דברים. על שלושה דברים העולם עומד.
But we read it all in a row. It's all in a row, okay? So she's you guys are going to close
tell her
in a minute, okay? But not yet.
we don't have a blessing in between. Just keep going. I mean, there's going to be a reader. There's somebody reading English.
Just pull that off.
Yes, you'll get it. You'll hear it.
On that side? Can you feel comfortable putting that in there? For anyone who's carried babies.
I'll help.
That's good. We're good. And where's the little guy?
I'll get it, Rabbi.
Oh, sure. There we are. Perfect. Right to
Just make sure it's leaning.
Okay, Caleb, you ready?
Perfect.
Sylvia, are you ready? And close it.
Great job.
Please be seated. There are many ways. I don't know where I don't see a light.
Camera number one.
Help me out here. Oh, okay, good. Oh, there's the light. I saw the light. Wrong service.
Right order.
I got it together, don't worry. We read Akedat Yitzchak, the binding of Isaac, every year on High Holy Days. And it is a mystifyingly tragic. Hey, Bev. Just want to say it's good to see you. Bev Holzman's in the house. Sorry, I digress. The sacrifice of Isaac is one of the most disturbing texts that we have. And we read it every year, we ponder it, it disturbs us. We're not sure how to respond to it. We've done Torah services in lots of different ways. I felt like this year it would be great to actually hear from some of the characters in this story. Like, what was it like for them? What was it like for them? So we're going to hear from 4 different players. There are many players. Not every player has the opportunity to speak this year. But we have 4 players that you should be able to identify when they speak. And their parts will be interwoven with the Hebrew as it's being chanted by our 4 fantastic Torah readers. The text, you will find it in your Machzor on page 240. Page 240, if you would like to follow along. And so you will
be able to do that. The text that you'll be hearing our actors reading, their parts are not printed anywhere, so you'll have to listen to them. 4 different voices with 4 different experiences. Our Torah readers on this beautiful, beautiful first day of the new year are Keith Merlin, Gemma Dorfman, Perry Barrist, and Adam Cohen. And our readers, our characters, are Josh Baumer, Brian Baumer, Sarah Drechen, and Olivia Frankel. And as always, so glad for you to be with us as we learn and listen to Agedat Yitzchak. But before we hear it, it would be appropriate for us to do the blessing. So, folks, if you'll gather around the table over here where the Torah blessing is, and everyone can join us in the Torah blessing, which is not anyone want to look and find the Torah? Oh, on page 230, I believe you'll find. Could someone let me make sure that's I'm giving you the right page? 230 is good. So everyone, if you'd please rise as you are able. And if anybody would like to get a little bit closer to the Torah to do the blessing, I'm going to ask if you want to come over and touch it with your tallis before we do the blessing. I invite you to do so if you so desire. Give a minute. If anybody wants to do that. Not sure, just thought I'd make it an option. But I guess everyone's good. So we're going to keep going with the blessing. 2:30, otherwise, got to get close. I know, you guys get your books. Okay, I think we got it. Everybody ready? Blessing. 1, 2, 3. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten Torah. Amen.
Amen. Vayhi achar hadvarim ha'eleh v'ha'Elohim nisa et Avraham vayomer l'Avraham vayomer hineni vayomer kach et bincha et Yitzchak asher ahavta et Yitzchak v'lech lecha l'eretz haMoriah v'elu sham le'olah al achad harim asher amar elecha. Vayashkem Avraham baboker v'chavosh et chamoro vayikach et shnei orav ito v'et Yitzchak beno v'yivaka etza olah v'yakem v'yalech el hamakom asher amar lo ha'Elohim.
It's Rosh Hashanah, and you Jews are hearing this story. Again, for over 2 millennia. You're in synagogues, and now many of you are streaming, and you're all shaking your heads. Some of you are incredulous. Some of you are angry. You say it like a mantra over and over. How could Abraham do such a thing? What kind of a father would agree to sacrifice his own son for the sake of God or anyone or anything else? I understand your disbelief and anger. I really do. The facts are plain. God tests me, and I obeyed. Without hesitation, I led Isaac to Mount Moriah, tied him to an altar, and then raised my knife to ritually cut his throat and then burn him as a sacrifice, all because God said so. People criticize me and question my judgment. Isaac is, after all, the heir apparent, the guarantor of the future of the Jewish people. And he's my boy, the son of my old age. He is Sarah's miracle. Everything mitigates against me doing anything to harm this boy, this beloved example of God's love and mercy. With all due respect, you don't get it. You can't understand. You can't fathom why I did what I did. And that's probably just as well. One man carrying the burden of memory through time is enough. Isaac is my beloved son, but he does not belong to me. Isaac belongs to God. It is through God's intervention that he came to be. When God says to take him to the Mount Moriah, I have to listen. It's truly not up to me. There was no room for a conversation or arbitration. In my entire life, I have never ever entertained the possibility of doing anything that might harm my boy. He was my everything. But it wasn't up to me. Call me a monster, call me a coward. I've been accused of having so many character flaws. Nothing can hurt my pride. Pride? I have no pride. I did what I had to do, and you know what? I'd do it again. There, I said it. I have a question for you. Why do you Jews keep reading this story for the New Year?
Please be seated.
I forgot the two from the first line. Just the first line. Josh, go right into it. Bayom hashelishi vayisa Avraham et einav et hamakom merachok vayomer Avraham el ne'arav shivu lachem po im chachamor va'ani v'chanar nelecha ad ko v'nishtachaveh v'nashuva alechem vayikach Avraham et atzei ha'olah vayasem al yichak meno vayikach beyado et ha'esh ve'et ha'me'achelet vayelchu shnechem yachdav vayomer Yitzchak al Avraham aviv vayomer avi vayomer hineni v'ni vayomer hine ha'esh v'ha'etzim ve'ayeh haseh le'olam vayomer Avraham Elohim yir'elo haseh le'olah b'ni v'yelchu shnechem yachdav.
When I woke up in the morning that my husband took my son, you notice I say my son, not our son. It was still dark. I looked towards Abraham's tent, and I saw that his mules were gone. Strange that he left without having told me about his plans to leave the camp. He was an old man and didn't travel much anymore. Then I looked towards Isaac's tent, pitched across the field. My eyes were so good, and I squinted, searching for some sign that Isaac was where he belonged. I felt a terrible pain in my chest. I instantly knew something was wrong. What mother hasn't had that pang of fear? I walked over to the servants' tents. They never liked me much. I didn't trust them, and they had no use for me. But I was desperate. A few servants had seen Abraham and Isaac leave camp in the middle of the night with 2 attendants and a few pack mules. No one knew where they were going. I tried to stay calm, but as I listened to servants, I became lightheaded with fear and panic and stumbled. Alarmed, they gathered around me and carried me back to my tent where I waited for 6 days. I couldn't eat or drink. I grew weak, despondent, of a mother anticipating the worst. On the morning of the 7th day of waiting, I heard loud shots and cheering. Barely able to move my head, I called for my ladies, who gently lifted me to a sitting position. I demanded they open the tent flaps so I might see. Glancing out into the middle of the camp, I saw Abraham with the servants, but there was no Isaac. I knew right then how I lost. God granted me the miracle of giving birth in my dotage, but I carried that boy in my womb for 9 months.
El hamakom asher amar lo ha'Elohim vayiven sham Avraham et hamizbeach vaya'aroch et ha'etzim vaya'akod et Yitzhak beno vayasem oto al hamizbeach mimahal la'etzim Vayishlach Avraham et yado, vayikach et ha'ma'achelet, lishchot et beno. Vayikra elav malach Adonai min hashamayim, vayomer Avraham Avraham, vayomer hineheni, vayomer al tishlach yadecha el hanar, ve'al taslo me'uma, ki ata yadati, ki Elohim ata, ve'lo hasachta, et binha jehideha mimeheni. Vayisa Avram et einav, vayar vehine ayil achar, nechaz basevach bekarnav, vayehelech Avraham, vayikach et ayil, vayalehu leolaha tachat benoho. Vayikra Avraham, Shem hamakom hahu Adonai yireh, asher ya'ameher hayom, behar Adonai yireh. Vayikra malach Adonai el Avraham, shenit min hashamayim.
Why does God choose to test my father, using me as bait? What motivates God to demand my blood as a true sign of my father's faith? Why does no one care about the boy being tied to the altar? How is it that both God and my father fail to understand that this test shatters my soul? I'm utterly innocent, yet I am the one who suffers. When my father woke me up in the middle of the night, he said, "We're going on a special secret mission." I was mystified and excited. Why should I doubt my dad? Whatever we were about to do was going to be exciting. We journeyed for 3 days. At no point did my father say anything about the purpose of our trek. We rode on, largely in silence. I was so confused. Where was the lamb for the sacrifice, I asked him. I'll never forget how he answered so calmly, "God will see to it." It was as if I were in a trance walking up the mountain. I don't even remember when my father told me to lay down on the altar we'd just built, or when he tied me down to it. The whole time, and never did it occur to me that my father was going to sacrifice me. I never asked why, and it shames me still. I looked up and saw my dad holding the knife. The man I trusted all my life was most assuredly about to offer me up as a sacrifice. And why? Apparently because God said so. I'm not sure why the angel stopped my dad from killing me. Maybe God saw that my father would do anything God asked him to do, and so passed the test. I tend to think that this angel was outraged on my behalf and intervened. I'm thankful this angel had a conscience. Maybe the angel is the hero, the brave one who says, "Enough." I don't understand why you bring this up every Rosh Hashanah.
Okay.
Vayomer binishbati ne'um Adonai ki ya'an asher asita et hadavar hazeh velo chasachta et bincha et yechidecha ki varech avarechecha v'harba arbe et zaracha kechochevei hashamayim v'chachol asher al sefat hayam vayira zaracha et sha'ar oyevav v'hibarechu v'zaracha kol goyei haaretz ekev asher shamata v'koli vayashov Avraham el ne'arav vayakumu vayelechu yachedav el be'er shavat vayeshev Avraham be'er shavat.
Humans are so weird. We animals look at you and we shake our heads. Think you're all so smart. We watch you do crazy things. You destroy things because you love violence. You hurt each other for fun. Why are humans so human? Animals don't spend a lot of time thinking about philosophy. Frankly, life's too short to think about anything other than their next meal might be. We live one day to the next. The lifespan of a ram is around 15 years. That sounds like nothing to a tortoise from the Galapagos who can live to be 150. But to a mouse, 15 years old is ancient. Isaac was 15 when his father tied him to the altar. I figured he was young by human years to lose his life for whatever reason his father had for killing him. So I ran to Abraham and Isaac, trying to save the boy. Just then the angel appeared. I didn't know an angel was then or now, but somebody showed up out of nowhere and made Abraham pause. And there I was, the perfect substitute for the boy. As they grabbed me to put me in the altar in place of Isaac, I wasn't scared and felt like I was serving a purpose. I was an offering, a noble ram. Most animals aren't afraid to die. We just do the best we can every day. Come to think of it, maybe I'm the hero of the story. To accept with gratitude the gift of life, to be noble. Humans have a lot to learn about gratitude. Think about that the next time you hear the shofar. That's my horn you're hearing. Pay attention.
Folks, if you would please rise as we bless the Torah reading and thank the Torah readers. Ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natat b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen. If you would pick it up and I'll... It's Chaim Hi L'machazikim Ba Tiracheha Darchei Noam V'chol Netivoteha Shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha V'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
Aleinu l'shabeach
Ladon HaKol Lateit Gedula Liotzer Breshit Shelo Asana Kegoye Aratzot Velo Samanu Kemishpachot Adama Shelo Sam Chelkenu Kahem Vigoralenu Kechol Amonam Vanachnu Korim Umishtachavim Umodim Lifnei Melech Machei Amlachim. Close the doors, please. Page 288. Folks, go back to your seats. Thank you. I think you got this one down. Bayom Mahu Yeh Adonai Echad Ushemo Echad. Page 292 is the Mourner's Kaddish. We think about the folks we've known and loved who are no longer with us. For some of us today, this is our first New Year without those folks by our side or in our thoughts. It is one of the difficult transitions that we make as we enter the gate of the new year, counting who is there and who is no longer. But we are reminded always that the memory of those who have come before us, those who have died in this season and in years past, remain solid and part of our sense of the world, and that we best honor them by doing deeds of loving kindness. Together we recite the Mourner's Kaddish, 292. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabba, bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayichon v'yomeichon uv'chayedecha Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach leolam elmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu le'ela u'le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'miran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'asei shalom, alein v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who brings peace to the heavens bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all the world. And we all say, amen. So please be seated. Just a few brief announcements before we go to our concluding portion of the service, which is our shofar service. And I would also like to have everybody ready for that. If you registered for lunch, please stay. Lunch is available in the social hall, in the cafe, and outside in the back. I'd like to underscore the phrase, if you registered. Next, at 1:30, we'll be doing Tashlich, the traditional service, casting our sins on the water. That'll be at 1:30. We'll be gathering, not at City Hall, but on the back porch of the temple and walking into the woods to a brook I never knew existed. But it's there, and I have it on good authority that there's water in there now. We are, as we do, we are doing a food drive, as we always do. First, of course, never forget salmon and raisins. Not fresh salmon, canned salmon, please, and raisins. The best thing to do, that's for JF and CS for their food bank. Best thing to do, just go on Amazon and order a case of raisins, a case of salmon, just send it to the temple. We'll take care of transporting it to JF and CS. Okay, so as I said, that's the easiest, best way to do it. Just send us a couple boxes from Amazon. We'll take care of it for you. And we're also collecting money for Newton food pantries online. And if you're gathering groceries, we are currently not able to do that, to bring your bag of groceries to their destination. We're suggesting that you bring your groceries directly to the Newton Community Fridge. If you don't know where the Newton Community Fridge is, I ask you to please Google it, and you will find out the closest one to you. Also, if one of these children is yours, don't forget to come get them. And also I want to say our second day, Rosh Hashanah observance begins at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Dan Tratt is going to be our guest congregational speaker. He is a deeply interesting guy with really such a compelling story. I hope you'll come and hear him speak. That's at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. There will actually be lunch on that day too, so you're Once again, TBA, we feed you. Any other? And Amy, sorry. I want to let everyone know there is a play. Here at Temple Beth Avodah 2023, 5073. We're actually going to do it here on our premises in our gorgeous space rather than going to the JCC. We're going to be right here on our show. And the play, you might be wondering, what play is it? Is it Hair? No. Is it Splendor in the Grass? Whatever. No. It is a reboot. We are revisiting Wizard of Oz. So there'll be lots of room, lots of parts for kids, lots of parts for grown-ups, fun, just great music, and stay tuned for tryouts and details.
If you are participating in our shofar service, come on up. That includes our choir and our bal tekiah.
Ballet Tekiah. We got Cohen Sif coming up here. Where's Zach D?
The microphone.
It's like at the same time, or how do you want to do it?
I think so. When I make the calls, you'll both blow at the same time. And it doesn't matter who's long or who.
And all the choir on the steps where you were before. How about a round of applause for our choir? We're back in the building. They're awesome. And Jessica, I can't see you, so you'll just go, oh, here she is. Never know. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishma kol shofar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechiyanu v'kiyamanu v'hikiyanu lasmad haseh.
Amen. If you'd all please rise as you are able. And, Cohen, you ready? Yeah. Zach, you ready? Tekiah, Shivarim Teruah, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shivarim, Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah, Shivarim Teruah, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shivarim, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah Gedolah. Shana Tova, everybody! Shana Tova!
Loud, real loud.
Shalom Mimromav, Huya Aseh Shalom Aleinu, Be'alto Yisrael. You guys were awesome, man. You hung in there. Cohen? This is the beginning of a long career. Fun. Stress test and I failed, and you mean it was like a normal, like, yeah, they gave me and I ended up with 2 stents.